All right, so this is day 5 of our new account. The focus of this video is, hey, I've unlocked Void Rift, and we have the prologue. So I want to take a crack at the prologue and use this as anybody can use it as a reference, or just what are things going to be like. I think when I originally did Void Rift, there was no prologue, so this will be interesting. It looks like we have plenty of battle power. We're gonna adjust the setup a little bit. It looks like we should be able to breeze through this, but this will give you an idea of what we're working with. I'm not sure if we'll need more than one tank, so we're only running one tank now. We have Volca as the assist, so she can work as a pseudo tank as well. Alright, I remember this map actually. Let's see. We can probably just... yeah. Alright, so we're just creating a kill box here. I don't expect anything to go after her. I think these guys come from the top and the bottom, so we may need to have a healer to cover folks. So we'll go like this, and this will be kind of our kill box here, letting things funnel into it. I think this is just kind of an introduction to what Void Rift looks like. So, oh, we're actually getting a little bit of attack back there, but I don't think it'll be enough to do any damage that we can't resolve. If we need Nomera to replace Elysia, that's fine as well. We don't have enough platform space to get Diao in there, but I'm not super worried. I think this setup we have now will be enough to handle everything in this level of Void Rift. It's kind of nice to get you in, get you some rewards, get you used to what Void Rift looks like. I really love that they keep evergreen content like Void Rift available. It's just something that's part of the weekly reset that you can do. As you get higher levels, you mostly get to auto through it and blast through it, but I think it was kind of like a proto Malrix where you had different modifiers every week. It offered some variety, so we're just gonna go through these levels together. I haven't seen anyone else actually recording the prologue of Void Rift, so I'm not sure how much people care, but this could be, something they could look back on if this is their first time experiencing it. So we will get some casters that come behind. I also believe the stuff that's sitting on the ground will debuff you in normal Void Rift and prevent healing or do something to mess with you. So you generally don't want these to encroach onto your tank's tiles. These levels are pretty easy right now, so we don't have to worry too much. We'll throw some AoE over here just to get stuff cleaned up before it gets to us. We can even just put our Volca back here to clear stuff before it comes out. Although we don't have any healer that can get to her. It's okay. Alright, so once again, we kind of have a kill box here. We may want to pick that Volca up. Although I think if she dies, it's not the end of the world. But I think she's kind of at the end of what's going to be effective there. All right. So if you're not able to kill everything right away, I think the danger here is these mobs can zerg through, and then these casters up here can pick off anything you have on these platforms. So either choosing to have something to deal with the casters or to have enough healing to keep you alive. But in the prologue, it's pretty straightforward. I wonder how the difficulty ramps up because there was a second prologue as well. So, and I am curious to see if we can push into the first level of regular Void Rift as well. So we'll probably continue to document. I don't know if we'll do it all in one video or if we'll break it apart. And probably a good chunk of it will depend on how much time it takes. If we can clear this in 10 or 15 minutes and the same for the other Void Rift, we'll probably tie it all together. And then we might break off for doing the first level of Void Rift on a new account. I do expect to hit a wall there, but we'll have to see. You really get your progress jump started so much having access to more legendaries, and they just have such a higher stat budget than epics that even without all of the skills and everything, oftentimes it's better just to use, unless specific use cases. Like I think one of the epics I'd really like to see is Itero, just because she can hit anywhere on the map. Another thing is I would love to see some sort of an AoE physical damage, because I know in Gear Raid 3 we're going to need that. Even a maul would be super helpful. So yeah, we'll continue to keep our eyes out. I think the thing that will develop for tomorrow for the guild boss as well as Hollow, I think having a second healer that adds raid regen is really going to help us to increase our damage. It is a lot of supports when we include Diao and Pharisee, but I think in the end it will be worth it. If we're dying before the stage is over, then more support to keep us alive, and the additional rage will help us to continue to cycle our ults. We will probably need to start trying to time them a little bit so that we can make sure we break those shields, but right now it hasn't seemed to be an issue. All right, so I don't anticipate having too much of an issue. It looks like we have a debuff here that's stopping us from getting healed or reducing our healing. All right, so pretty straightforward again. We're just creating a kill zone here and letting stuff come to us. We could probably swap Diao to Inspiration if we need to, but we're killing stuff so fast with Silas that I don't anticipate it being an issue. Okay, so once again, I think this is just an introduction to what the stages will look like, kind of preparing us for what to expect as we come into Void Rift. Oftentimes, if you're not playing an early count as optimized, this would definitely be a lot more challenging. Although Void Rift really is legacy content, I played a different ult account and was able to get through the nightmare stages probably in the first month. So I would anticipate we can leapfrog through it fairly quickly. Okay, we should be coming to our first boss here. We continue to have about triple the BP as being requested of us, so once again, I don't anticipate any issues here. Okay, we should be able to ult down the balls here, drop a tank in here, and probably kind of coast for the rest of the level. Like I saw, we're triple the BP that this content is asking, so it is kind of silly, but I think it's a good introduction to what to expect. These are bosses and levels that we will face in the upcoming Void Rift with some increased difficulty, so I don't think it's a problem to get an introduction to it. This is also an opportunity for us to use Volca. Volca is a hero that we get as we complete the storyline. I think it's like on day 17 or 18. We'll be able to get Volca. We are a little gate kept by Tide, so Tide will be the thing that stops us from continuing to progress the storyline to get her sooner. She is super helpful for an early account and definitely has uses all the way through the end game. Once you get the through Tide, I think it's like just after a month, you'll get access to a soulstone for her, and her first soulstone is super helpful because it allows you to have a reduced time for redeploying units, and there's a strategy to do Gear Raid 219 that involves cycling champions. So being able to do that is super helpful. I think that the difficulty increased a little bit because we weren't just one-shotting um, enemies here. So I will look at the BP requirements for this second part of the stage and see just to make sure we're not taking just to make sure we're taking the content seriously enough to not just fail embarrassingly. And in the spirit of that, we will drop more units and not try to do the minimum. So things aren't just falling over dead. My assumption is we're closer to wanting at least 100,000 BP here. We still don't have to use our ults, but it's not completely the cardboard that the last phase was. We just need a fast forward button though. I think the boss actually leaves and you don't fight him till the very end. Yeah. Okay, we'll just use ultimates. These are the last two. Alright. So not hard, but not as trivial as the first phase. Okay, not a huge increase in BP though. It's asking for 70, and I think we're at 200,000, so still pretty straightforward. We'll just put our fighters up there. Create a roadblock down here. And our healer can hit Elijah up here, Elysia up there, and rocks down here. So I think that should set us up well. Try to have a realistic setup, even if we probably don't need all of the characters. I think there are some tentacles that can pop up, so I'll probably, yeah, there it is. I'll probably hold a Vulcan reserve so everyone gets smacked around. Okay, we're just pretty much killing these tentacles as they come out. We are quickly getting to the point in the game where we need to start considering gear. We're kind of getting to the point where we still see significant upgrades from leveling and promotions, but um, I think the next push will be towards trying to get mythic artifacts, the red gear, so that we can start gearing up. We may need to bootstrap up from the legendary orange stuff first. Uh, it's really not that bad since it's not so expensive to upgrade to level 12. And you really need to be careful as you upgrade to 16. Even as you get red gear, I would only upgrade the very best of it to 16. Um, it's nice that you can develop a set to kind of hand around, but I wonder why they keep changing my lineups going into some of these. It's probably correlated to like gold raid or experience raid before I had certain characters. That's okay. The nice thing here is it's not star based and you can let 10 enemies get through. And unlike gear, gold raid, or experience raid, it doesn't change the rewards you get. So these levels are pretty forgiving. All right, so pretty straightforward. Now we can continue on. I think we might have one more area until we fight the boss of the zone. Maybe not. Okay, this should be the last non-boss encounter. Okay, so this can actually be one of the more annoying levels for a new account. We definitely usually would use two tanks. The BP requirement here is low enough. We don't need to mess with it, but yeah, sometimes you can get overrun here, and then we'll need some AoE down here as well. We can use a scale, so he should work very well here. And we can have Elysia down here as kind of a stopgap. I think the two prologues will show us all of the potential levels. I think that's kind of part of. I think there's essentially 6 different zones that a Void Rift can have, and so we will get a cut down version of all 6 of them when we do the prologue 1 and 2. So it's nice to have kind of that introduction. All right, not too bad. That should be this level clear. Okay, so this is the boss that has been hassling us the run pretty much. Okay, so we purposefully set Pharisee in Silas's attack range, so when the tentacles got a hold of him, he was not blocked out. Sorry, had a child ask me something. We probably want to give us a healer here.
Hey, we're running over to feed the pets. Bella got out of work late.
All right. additional interruptions. It's fine. These levels are pretty straightforward. Okay, where's the fast forward button? Alright, the boss should be moving in shortly. Alright, pretty straightforward stuff. 2 of 3 zones resolved. It definitely seems like they were expecting you to be a lot weaker at this point, which is interesting. Even when I started my very first account almost 3 years ago, I remember getting through the storyline pretty much as soon as possible. So, although I know they've changed some of things, so they've upped the BP a little bit. 87,000. We're still almost double that. Although I think we get up closer to 200 when they keep giving us the other units. Yeah. Yeah, we're around 205, so almost 2.5 times the BP requirement. Alright, I think we'll drop rocks here. I think this is just probably teaching us how to handle 2 lanes at once. Getting some fallen rocks. I know what this boss is going to be. Alright, we're pretty much set up. I believe this middle row here doesn't get the falling rocks. They deal with things up here and down here, so especially if you can get one, if not more, of your healers there, you can really mitigate a lot of the incoming damage. This this early phase of Watcher of Realms really focused on, good positioning. It seems more recent content has really focused on, yes, you need good positioning, but also having to have amazing stats, which means it's more endgame and requires a lot more grinding of the gear. Although they've improved the ways that you get gear and the ways that you can make the gear better. So it's just different avenues to move the game forward. All right. This phase Void Rift seems to be focused on getting you to deal with two lanes. I should have the range to be able to hit both lanes with Silas, which is nice. The only thing with Silas up there is he's out of the range of Pharisee. I might need to use an additional healer up there. So yeah, he'll definitely get hit if we have that rock fall on him. So we'll set another healer up there. It seems like we're only getting rockfall here. I think it might be because it only goes on tanks. So as you have tacticians and DPS that can pseudo tank, especially at the early levels, I think you can even more control how that goes out. Probably don't need Diao for any of this. But we'll throw her in. Alright, we can just blast through the rest of this with our ults. Okay, we're definitely getting to... Man, they keep messing with the characters they throw in, but we're definitely getting to the end. I may break this into prologue 1 and 2 just because the first prologue video is already, we're probably going to be pretty close to 35-40 minutes, which is a pretty long video, but to some degree you have to do the thing even if it is pretty easy. All right, pretty straightforward here. I believe next we'll have the boss, and that should be the end of prologue 1. Maybe we'll have one more fight. I'm not 100% sure. Nope, just the boss. All right. I am going to try to do this level not using any tanks and see if that allows us to avoid the rock fall. Nope. And we'll go ahead and use Diao as a healer here. Although we did bring another healer. Okay, pretty straightforward stuff. I think we'll get one more wave of skeletons and then we can take out the boss. Alright, just used Pharisee's ult to make sure we didn't get too low there. We could have popped our other healer in if we needed to. Alright, anytime now. And we're just going to pick up the stuff on the other side that doesn't need healing. That way we're not... Oof, we did get kind of slapped there, didn't we? Alright, we should be able to salvage that, but that was a moment there. I think our healers were just not quite up to the task. All right, so that is prologue 1. Did we miss something? We must have missed. Ugh, the worst part. We missed something on the ground somewhere. Some chest or thing of diamonds that we're not quite completing this. There we go. All right, so a pretty nice amount of rewards for what it was. 140 diamonds, 3 summoning crystals, some energy. These psychic powers are super nice, and the gear is never bad. Um, Although this gear kind of looks bad. Anyway, thank you for watching. We're gonna stop this recording here, and we'll separate the Void Rift Prologue 2 into another video to avoid a 2-hour video.